talked on here a little bit before about how one of the reasons why I wanted to start making content as a bookseller was because of all of the changes coming up. And as I've said before, I've reposted some really great videos by Jack Edwards and Kevin Norman who explain what's going on and how Project 2025 specifically wants to target people who distribute books that they deem are inappropriate. And first and foremost, I would like to say that books go through a review process to make sure that they are age appropriate for the division in which they are put before they're ever even published. This has absolutely nothing to do with the actual graphic content of the books. This has to do with people wanting to remove stories about people that they don't like and that they disagree with. This has nothing to do with protecting children or restricting actually harmful or graphic material. And one of the states I used to live in, Arkansas, in 2023 tried to pass something similar. And this is what it says. Arkansas Act 372, you can go look it up, was signed by the Arkansas governor on March 31st, 2023. Sections 1 and 5 expose librarians and booksellers to criminal penalties, which include up to 1 year in prison in the case that they distribute materials such as books, magazines, or movies that are deemed harmful to minors. This means that if they're made available in general, and it goes on to say that it is if they allow children to have access to banned books. And this is something that's talked about a lot on Book Talk, about how many tens of thousands of books are banned every single year across all age groups that have nearly nothing to do with the actual graphic content of it, but is because they center stories around people of color or queer characters. The bill would allow anyone to be able to object to books being carried in public spaces and have them removed. This is not a parent who's concerned about their child. This is not people who are librarians, who have doctorates, who are literature teachers. This has absolutely nothing to do with anyone who's actually qualified to make judgment calls like this. Literally anyone in the community, if this was to pass, could object to a book simply because they don't like it and have it removed from the public sphere, from bookstores, from public libraries, from public schools, and that could go a million different ways. One of the things that they're acting on here is the definition of the word obscenity or harmful to minors as based on the Supreme Court's approved definition. And it goes in to talk about you have to be 18 or under. It has to be something that based on community standards that would prove to be considered sexual. And any depictions or descriptions of sexual conduct or nudity. And so for all of you romance girlies who decided to vote for these things and say that, oh, they're not going to come for our books, they're not going to come for us, whatever, it's just for minors, you are now being put in a position where because these things are what they are considering harmful, a lot of bookstores and a lot of communities and libraries are going to have to remove all of it if these bills pass so that they don't get arrested with felony charges for being able to make them available to minors, which means you will no longer be able to get them either because they're going to have to remove it completely from their space. So, good job. This particular bill in Arkansas, Act 372, was struck down by a federal judge recently for saying that it's unconstitutional for librarians and booksellers to be held accountable for this, and that the criteria of what was considered harmful was too vague, and that the review process held no actual governmental purpose, which I thought was really important that they put in there. But the fact is, this act was signed in 2023, March of 2023. Okay, this is not something new, and this is something that is just going to continue to happen and keep getting pushed through in the next year.